Welcome back to Absolutely Marvel and DC. My name is Benny, that is Dan, and today we're going to talk about Halo episodes 2 and 3. And I'm not even going to recap this. I'm just going to say straight up, what is this?
Dude, the whole... Okay, you know what? I'll do a recap because then I can formulate mine.
I mean, you can, but what is this?
I have no idea. Because episode 2, it's entirely... It's a long hour episode to basically tell you, hey, there was another Spartan that left and is kind of friends with Master Chief, but kind of isn't, and has his own planet. That's pretty much episode 2. And then episode 3 is the entire thing with Cortana, which I could see what they were trying to do, but I think they missed out on a couple key things, such as how does a little implant in his head create a visible 3D hologram that everyone can see?
The wrist thing in the games makes far more sense because it's projecting.
Yeah, it's like a hologram. Like, I mean, if it was something that like only he could see, that would make sense.
Which is what I thought at first. And even Halsey would make a little sense because she could do her own thing to make it visible. Mm-hmm. But like when she introduced herself to the other Spartans, it's like,
yeah,
what?
It was very, very odd. And I think they're fully CGing her, even though it's the same actress as Halsey.
I'm not against that because, I mean, that's the idea. Like, she is the CG version, but it looked less intrusive, I guess is the word, when it was in the game. Because they were all CG, so she's just more CG.
You know? I'll give you that one. But
yeah,
it's there are parts that I like, and there are parts that I dislike. And if you took all the parts that I liked, we would have one episode so far.
The issue I have with this is, as a Halo fan who has read the comics, who has read the lore, they aren't going that far out of the realm of like, okay, we're rewriting Halo in its entirety. They're correcting a lot of lore gaps and they're fixing things like that. The big issue that I'm having at this point is that the best example I can give is like Dan, I gave you the Halo license. You're like, science fiction. I've always wanted to make a science fiction show. I'll just put in the Halo stuff.
Right.
Like, so the best example right now is Master Chief.
Yes.
Okay, taking off his helmet, I 100% disagree with. I'm going to put that out there because if Mandalorian can do it, why can't Halo?
Yeah.
But fine, I'll give that one a pass because it's pretty notorious. The studios want to get the money for the bang for the buck for who they're getting as an actor. I mean, the ongoing joke in all the Spider-Man movies is he just doesn't wear the mask 80% of the movie.
Yeah, and that's very true because
they want to show off Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland. Okay, fine. I'll accept that. That is just like a thing we deal with when it comes to things going to TV. Then dropping the armor in its entirety, like I'm confused by that one. Like I like the idea that we're diving more into the Spartans and then back at the home base. Mm-hmm. That's fine because that is never really explored in the video games. But it reminds me more of Mass Effect in the direction it's going right now, where he's just now in a skin-tight suit and he's walking around having these conversations and he's trying to figure out everything. And the big thing for me that really kind of derailed it being Master Chief, because up until this point, I'm like, remove the helmet, fine, right. I'll deal with it. Don't want him walking around on the clunky armor that you probably had to pay thousands of dollars to get made, fine, I'll deal with it. These are ramifications of us making a live-action show.
Right.
And even exploring Master Chief, going back home, talking to the other Spartans, all of this is in the books, in the comics, so you want to do your own version of that. What's blowing my mind is the complete change of his character that they're trying to do.
Yes.
Because Master Chief is a stoic guy with no emotions who follows orders, and when he questions them, which he does in the games, it's still the stoic, no emotions guy. That is still who he is. And he pushes through, and he blocks Cortana, and he does things. What we've done at this point is we've turned Master Chief into a character that is now questioning everything except Halsey. The only thing he trusts is Halsey.
Yeah.
But the UNSC, to the rebellion, to what's going on with the Covenant, all of that is being changed because he doesn't question that stuff until it crosses the line. And what they're using, instead of him just being a guy who follows orders until it goes too far, they're using an excuse of, Well, he's getting his memories back. And that's giving him emotions. So in order to make this more viable, he has to remove his emotion chip, his pellet. And now we're going to see a different side of Chief. And it's like, you went 3 episodes in. This would have a lot more impact if Chief went the whole first season as the Chief we know. And then at the ending, that big questioning moment happened.
Yeah.
But you're trying to do world building for Halo while eradicating what makes it Halo. And that's what bothers me. We didn't get a season of him fighting the Covenant, learning to work with Cortana, beginning to question Cortana. We didn't get that. We didn't get a season of Spartans going through training, trusting Halsey. Halsey is flipping on us. We are starting the story with Halsey is dodgy, the UNSC cannot be trusted, and he needs to get his emotions back. But you haven't established who any of these people are outside of a 15-minute intro that felt like Halo. And we haven't had that since that moment. So they're like, here's Halo, and you know who he is, right? But we're going to tell our own unique story that I'm not against, but we're not going to establish anything. So I hope you played Halo, because I hope you know what Master Chief is supposed to act like, because we're not going to show you that. Because immediately, we're going to have him question everything. But my question is, from a viewer standpoint, and I know I'm ranting, Dan, I'll give you a moment to get in here, but my question is, what is he questioning? We as the viewer, if you're not a Halo fan, what is he questioning? Because you have now established that he has lived his life from like childhood till now being the perfect soldier that everyone trusts, and he is legendary. And the first thing we see him do as a viewer is question all of that and then remove all the training devices they placed in him. Sorry, I just had to do a Halo rant there. That's what bugs me.
I fully agree. They've basically, I feel like we got the first episode, like the 5th episode and the 7th episode, and they skipped everything in between that explains these things.
Yeah.
Because they don't set up really any ramifications. They don't really set up any true reasoning for why he's able to start questioning these things, why wants
now?
to. Exactly. Like, there's so much that they are just skimming over, and they're assuming you as the viewer can fill in the gaps. Now, maybe they'll do... No, honestly, they needed more fights. They needed more Halo to make you go, okay, this is who they are. This is what they do.
Right.
Okay, wait, hold up. Why is this happening now? Why are they so willing to trust him on these missions, but not at home base?
And that's what bothers me. I'm fine with exploring Halo 1 through 3. Chief is just stoic and doesn't say or do anything. And all of the personality comes out of Cortana. And then 4, 5, and 6, it's all about him questioning what they've been having him do. But the reason why 4, 5, and 6, as much as Halo fans dislike the core story because it's not written by Bungie, only really work because we already saw Chief do all the crazy stuff.
Yeah.
He already trusted the UNSC. He already saw why it wasn't working. And in this one, we saw him be the Master Chief in the intro. He touched an artifact, which they're not explaining, which I get as the plot of this 9-episode series, but they're not explaining it. And it's just being used as a MacGuffin to rush us to him questioning everything.
Yeah.
While the games took 3 games to set up, things aren't what you think. It wasn't until, I think, the end of the 2nd game of the 3rd game when the Arbiter was like, hey, the Covenant aren't all bad. And we discovered the Gravemind is messing with the Flood. And all these things that Chief finally questions what is going on.
Yeah,
but we're setting up a Chief that wants to question everything while trying to do world building, while turning everyone into evil and whatever, without establishing who Spartans are, who the UNSC are. Why does Chief trust them? Why does the rebellion hate the UNSC? That's something I've been questioning since the beginning. Because this girl, I don't know her name off the top of my head, that is now
I think
Quan, whatever her name is. She's like, screw the UNSC, screw the UNSC. The rest of the galaxy is all for it. Mm-hmm. Her entire motivation is that, it's propaganda and they're lying to us. Like, that's your entire motivation? What did the UNSC do that is so bad that there is a rebellion out there that is so against the UNSC that they don't even believe the Covenant exists?
Yeah. Like, it's... I think one of my big problems is the fact that, like I was saying just a minute ago, they're assuming you're going to fill in the gaps with your knowledge of the games and stuff, but they're also changing it enough that you go, I don't know what from the games I can use to fill in the gaps. Like they're not really, they're just changing up too much to make it easy to translate. Because you're like, okay, well this must have been how they did. Wait, no, why are they doing it like this? Because they're also going into the whole, there's one female Spartan that also seems like she might have emotions or something like that, but they don't imply anything behind that. Like, because they just constantly have the blonde Spartan, like, spying on Chief, seeing what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, I want them to make it make sense. And I hope that this is not one of those ones where, like, 4 or 5 episodes in, they're like, hey, flashback. Like, I hope it's not a flashback sequence to explain all this stuff, because it should have been the first couple episodes should have hooked you with the insanity of Master Chief, the craziness of the Covenant, how strong both of them are, give you that base of the universe, then go, okay, let's go into the personal stuff. You didn't hook me. There was no hook.
That's the issue. I feel like they were hoping that the hook would be we get to see Master Chief in his suit right away. Mm-hmm. Like, and that's my issue. I'm one of the few Halo fans that is like, I will take this as a separate project.
Right.
Being someone who's read the comics and the books and knowing that they all don't fit into the timeline and you got to kind of pick and choose what you want to do.
Right.
I'm okay with this being a new story, the Silver Team's story. But if we're going to do that and you want to change a bunch of basic concepts of Halo, I need some explanations as to what is going on here.
Also, because on that regard, how did the one guy get his emotions on the base to want to leave if they all already had these pellets implanted in them? Like the guy.
Well, that's one of my problems.
Like,
he's from the comics and the books.
Yeah, but they're like in the show, they don't explain it. They just go, hey, I want to leave. You should come with me, John. Like, they've put these pellets in us. That's why you don't have emotions. Okay, what happened to your pellet, dude? Like,
and that's exactly what I'm talking about. I know a little bit more about that character because of that and the fact that they're going in a different direction because he never came back. Mm-hmm. But you don't. You haven't read and looked at all the Halo ancillary stuff. Like, it's so weird, their decisions with this.
Yeah.
Because I would at first be like, oh, they just want to get Halo, they want to get Master Chief's face in as much stuff as they can, they want to get the helmet in there, that's what they're going for, but they're not doing that. They're putting him in a black skin-tight suit like it's straight out of Mass Effect. And it's obvious, if you know Halo, that they're going to the Halo.
Yeah.
That's where they're going. He's going to be somehow connected to the Halo, and they're using these artifacts to show them where the Halo is. They're doing the most roundabout way to get there. And I might be wrong about this, but if I remember correctly, the first Halo just shows up because everyone happens upon it.
Yeah.
It's an alien artifact, and they're all just like, oh, the Covenant are going here. Oh, what is this?
Yeah.
Chief, go check it out. Like,
that's pretty much it. Like, or at least that's all I remember for it.
So why are we doing this roundabout way to get us there?
That, and then no kidding there. And then we've also got I will say I'm glad they explained a little bit of the woman that's with the Covenant, that she is someone else that can interact with the artifacts and stuff like that. But they also don't really explain it.
Yeah, they don't. Also, what are the worm things? Like, what was that whole thing in this third episode?
At first I was like, is this supposed to be the Flood? Because
I thought that too at first.
Don't work with them. Like,
well, maybe they're changing that, was my first thought. Maybe they found a way to control the Flood. But then I'm like, no, there's some kind of weird worm thing.
Yeah, they looked very sketchy on some of the scenes.
The show is from apparently got 25 million viewers on its first episode, and is the biggest hit on Paramount Plus at this point.
I mean, that's because nothing else is on Paramount Plus.
They got Star Trek. I mean, that's
exactly like
and they got South Park, because that's what I bought Paramount Plus for. It wasn't even for Halo.
See, and that's like that's not really a statement saying Halo's the biggest thing, because you're going from Star Trek, which it's got an older audience, a very much more specific audience. Halo is a grabber. I'm very curious what the numbers were like what the drop off was for the second and third episodes.
I'm also getting more heated about it when I realize we only have 9 episodes. I looked it up yesterday. How long is this? Because they're dragging it out so much to get him there. There's only 9 episodes.
The first
in this season.
3 should I feel like this first 3 you could cut them down into 1 episode.
You probably could, maybe
or
1.5.
1.5. Yeah, I'd say 1.5. Like
we didn't need I'd say 80% of Quan, I think her name is, getting dropped off in that whole discussion.
Yeah, and like her whole thing with the guy, like he's like, "Oh man, you've got deuterium money. Oh, okay, I'll go back." Why? Why does this matter? Why
right
do you
now,
care?
I don't care about Quan.
I don't either.
Quan
and there's
was
a lot
great
of focus on her.
Quan was a great reason to make Chief's question.
Yes, agreed.
Because he was there, he got the artifact, and immediately after that was the Quan needs to die. Okay. And when he dropped off Quan, I was like, that's the end of Quan. We will see her maybe at the end of the series when he comes back. But apparently she's got more to do.
Like all of her stuff should be this kind of stuff that happens off screen. You don't know about it until Master Chief finds her again. That's what this stuff should have been. Like all of that does not need to be known right now because people aren't watching Halo for Quan. They're watching Halo for Master Chief and Cortana. Like
which I am glad we spent a lot of time explaining Cortana's origin.
Yes.
It's close to the actual origin. I did like that.
I cringed when they did the eye thing because
Oh yeah, same here. I can't do eyes and mouth. I can't do.
Yeah.
But I also really liked that they got the original voice actress up. It sounded very close to Cortana, and I googled it to make sure.
Is it? Okay.
It is the same Cortana voice actress.
Because it did sound familiar. I like that. I like that.
And I did like that, and it sounded good, and that like immediately brought me Halo. But then we dealt with wait. So now she what is going on with their relationship now? Because Cortana's being forced on him, so he doesn't want Cortana there.
Also, does Halsey not do literally anything except monitor them?
Yeah. Like, that's another thing. And then Cortana had a different mission, but now she's going to work with Chief and half question it. Like,
yeah, it's...
what they did with Cortana almost reminds me of a Black Mirror episode where they download your consciousness into this AI toy so that someone could always remember that they're dead loved ones.
Right.
And then when the person got older, that consciousness is still stuck in a toy that can't do anything. It's just stuck there going crazy.
Yeah.
And it's like Black Mirror is like, oh my God, that's just like insane. And I was like, so Cortana's just stuck in Chief's head now?
Yeah.
Like, and Chief doesn't want her there, and she's monitoring but not monitoring, and
they took some weird creative.
It's almost like
liberties.
a horror story direction with this.
Yeah, they really like. I still get, but I'm still a little irked with the whole she can form for no explained reason.
Is it out of his eyes?
Like it's not even out of his eyes. It's just randomly like appears behind him, and like it's like what the hell? Well,
they can't have it in the. They can't have Cortana in the suit. He's not wearing the suit 2 whole episodes.
Yeah, and mentioning that, like earlier, you were like, "Oh yeah, you want to get the face of it out there," and it's like the face is the helmet. Like, like that's the notorious. That is when you think Halo, everyone knows the helmet. Everyone does.
I don't think he wore it even once this episode. Third episode?
I don't think so. I don't even think
carried it again. He's constantly carrying it.
Yeah, it's...
Like, he wore it for, 5 minutes in the second episode, 20 minutes in the first episode. Like, that, are they just going to throw the armor out in the fourth episode? Now he's just in the black suit?
Right. I'm hoping that episode 4, we're finally going to get more stuff, because he is going out on his little adventure to this new planet. My expectations are that he's going to go there, he'll get memories, the Covenant will attack, we'll get some weird stuff. I've got a question for you. Do you think they're going to put the Arbiter in this?
No, not this season. I don't think we're going to go with the Arbiter in this season. I have a feeling the Arbiter's introduction will be getting that girl out.
That's why I was thinking they That's the exact same thing I was thinking. The Arbiter is definitely going to come about around that one girl.
Yeah.
Who those child actors were. Child actors.
It's such a weird decision because it feels to me like the show is being made by someone who wanted to write a science fiction show and doesn't like Halo. That's what it feels like to me. And this could work, but there's so many things that are making me just go, no, it's not. You're not doing it right. Like,
I fully agree. I
mean, the first season of Halo should have been the first game's concept, which is he lands on the Halo and then is trying to get off and stop the Halo.
Yes.
Which has no real core story. So you could have easily dropped him with the Silver Team, done all the backstories on the Silver Team, explored the Spartans, explored Halsey, explored Cortana, used your entire first adventure of these guys stranded on the Halo. That been 9 episodes. They get off. Now we world build all the outside stuff.
Yeah.
You could have just done Master Chief fights. You could have just done Spartan fights and deep dived into the Spartans. And you could have given me 9 episodes of that.
Yeah.
And then we end it with them leaving and we go to the UNSC and we start discovering all this other shit and I would have been on board.
Yeah,
but
and they clearly had the budget with $10 million an episode. Like, you've got the budget to do these kind of things, guys.
Why aren't you? Why? It's just, I don't know.
There's a lot of questionable decisions, and
I'm gonna watch it to the end because I'm hoping by the end this will hook me.
Yes,
and I will be like, fuck it, I was wrong. Halo worked out in the end.
Yes,
because I've said this about Moon Knight. I've said this about the Disney Plus shows. Every one of these new shows is they're basically coming out in this 9 episodes, all works as a piece. They're not coming out where singles work too well anymore.
Yeah. It's no longer an episode thing. It's a movie that they divided up.
Right.
Yeah. Well, here's hoping. Here's hoping that it gets better. Here's hoping we get some more fights. Or maybe I would love to get some stuff with like their training. I would love to see more of them training as kids and something like that.
I agree, because there's so much I want them to explore, and we're over here exploring why this stuff.
They're exploring all the parts that I don't care about.
Yeah, like Halsey's the other lady who's supposed to have the artifact, and she's not really agreeing with Halsey.
Who looks like a teenager.
I just check out every time those two are on screen talking. Yeah. Her and the commander and I should have the artifact, Commander. Well, I gave it to Halsey. Well, why is that okay, Commander? Like, I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even need this. You don't even need this. You could actually remove all of this. And then when that person eventually shows up to get rid of Halsey, which is where you know it's going, just have them do it.
Yeah.
Because you're not even establishing this character well.
No. Hopefully it gets better. That's really all I gotta say, is that hopefully it's gonna get better. I think the pivotal episodes are going to be this 4th and 5th episode, and I think those will be the key ones that will cause the majority of the audience to either stay on or completely drop off.
I'll make it to at least 5.
Not us. We're going to watch the whole thing, but I think like the general audience, I feel if you get to 4 and 5 and there's not a whole lot going on, that's going to be when people really start going, okay, I'll wait for the whole thing, or wait to see if someone says it's good enough to watch or anything like that.
Yeah. No, I agree. They've made a lot of weird decisions. It could pay off, but right now I don't have hopes. Because whoever wrote this obviously wanted to write Mass Effect.
Which, honestly, if this was Mass Effect, I think it would be great.
I think it would be great. You just go to the Arbor, it's just Mass Effect, Shepard or somebody dealing with I'd be, oh yeah, cool.
So like everything in this already, like you said, it fits Mass Effect so much more.
Yeah, it does. And that world is more open for bigger mysteries and things like that. Anyway. I hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you next time right here at our Halo review. Hopefully we don't shit on it for 20 minutes.